What up guys, good morning and welcome back. Today we have another review and we're going to go ahead and continue to look at the new Flagship Pomade Company products. So I spoke with Wade, and so what they've done right now is come out with a new kind of line of products they refer to as like the streamline. And I believe what this is targeted towards is people who are more accustomed towards like salon products, so you get that same kind of like type, style, quality, but you get it at like a more affordable price. You get something that is a little more familiar to us, because those products do have some accolades to them that we very much desire. But pomades are very easy to use, they're very convenient, and so that kind of brings it back. So what we see are basically like products that are formulated by Wade but now produced in like a cosmetic lab, and so they should be much priced to be much more like kind of friendly to us, and something that's pretty like unique, something that's different. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at the jar. So this is what we'll be looking at today. This is Flagship Streamline Traditional Pomade, and this is an oil wax based pomade, but it is water soluble. So we have heard of this before every once in a while, but it is cool. It is something that's pretty ideal, and if it works out, then it could kind of stand out for us. Yeah, directions on one side, greens on the other, the modernized Flagship logo. And essentially this is a 4-ounce jar. It looks similar to the one we looked at last week, but that one is significantly smaller. It's kind of hard to see that through like the camera, through like a screen, but it is bigger. Opening it up, you have the product inside, and it definitely looks like an oil base. It has the same shimmer, color, and semi-translucency, but very nice overall. Let's go ahead and use it. The official smell of this pomade is like a black pepper, like bergamot, and it definitely comes out. Mostly the black pepper really stands out. It's not super sharp, but you do smell it. It's kind of like as though you have a little bit of spice to a mostly smooth herbiness. But anyways, so if it's an oil base, we expect it to kind of scoop out with a good amount of resistance in regards to like the wax, and there is a little bit of like resistance at first, but with some pressure it definitely gives out, and no question it feels a lot like an oil base right now, just the consistency of it, and also breaks down like one. So the nice thing about an oil base is that we know that it will apply pretty easily, it'll style pretty intuitively, and it's something that we're super familiar with. It's something that's actually really easy to work with. Now the nice thing is that if it is water soluble, then it basically takes out the biggest inconvenience of this product, which is, well, biggest inconvenience of oil bases, which is that it's difficult to wash out, or basically they build up over time in your hair and it's a hassle. Some things to consider that we wouldn't expect to be solved by making it water-based is that oil base, if it melts during the day, it still gets all over your face. It still has a somewhat greasy feel, and it can be slightly on the heavy or thick side in regards to the weight and just how it feels overall. And so those are things we're going to pay attention to. Things that we wouldn't expect to be solved by making it water soluble. Yeah. So I'll probably just need one more scoop. Luckily, today seems to be a pretty cool and chilly day, and that will make it a really good fit for a day such as this pomade, I mean. And we're applying it to towel dry hair. Obviously, as you can see, I can run my hands really easily. Application, getting around is relatively easy. It's definitely like, it tends to catch immediately and kind of stay there, so I have to put in a little more effort to get it all around, but overall, nothing crazy, no crazy grip at all. It's pretty comfortable. Let's go ahead and comb it all back. Nothing to it really, obviously easy to comb through, so let's go ahead and style it. And we'll go ahead and call that done. I mean, obviously, as you can see, super easy to work with, super easy to style with. I mean, very intuitive, great shape, and like above average height. I mean, we've been using a lot of matte pastes, clay pomades in the recent past, and so those are going to be extremely crazy volume. We shouldn't really expect something like that out of this, but this still achieved very good volume. You see very good shape, and just like an oil base is always going to be very intuitive to use, very simple to use, and it just works as you expected just because it's something very familiar with us. Doesn't provide too much of anything. It's typically very much always in moderation. The finish is definitely like it's 2 notches above neutral, so it does provide a good shine to your hair. It doesn't feel super heavy, surprisingly. It also doesn't feel super greasy, but we'll go ahead and gauge that throughout the day. Just to go overall, slickness, definitely solid slickness. We haven't used a slick product like this in quite a while. No strays. Strength, we definitely put like 7 or 8. Definitely like medium firm-ish, mostly medium, but just because of I surprisingly has like a lighter weight to it. It's giving us like a good amount of volume right now, but we'll see whether that lasts throughout the whole day or not. And as I said before, control, very intuitive, very easy to use. But yeah, so go throughout the day now, come back in a few hours, and we'll check on how well it did. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap up this review. So, as you guys can see, the endurance is rather poor. I mean, this is an oil wax-based product, water-soluble, not necessarily water-based, and so typically with a water-based pomade, we expect kind of like the water to recede. This wax really sets in and somewhat settles in and keeps really good hold. Oil bases, we typically expect something much more pliable, something soft, and it is soft and really pliable, which makes it really comfortable. But at the same time, that really sacrifices on the endurance and definitely fall apart very quickly. Is very susceptible to falling apart during the day. Mostly just took a hike, went to Dog Beach with Luna, and so there wasn't physical activity, nothing like around, like running around, nothing about jumping around or anything. So I would have expected some sort of oil base to kind of do like a more resilient job. However, this being kind of on the medium lightweight side and kind of like a medium firm, medium more so of a hold, it makes sense that it kind of falls apart, though we do wish that it had better endurance. Restyling is definitely possible, but you do lose a solid amount of like the volume. Definitely what I have now is something that is still somewhat slick, but the volume has much kind of receded, melted away, kind of just not really present. If you have any cowlicks or any other, like if you happen to let your hair dry too much and something kind of like a split formed in your hair, this product isn't necessarily strong enough to fight against that. So you'll definitely want to kind of provide this product with the most ideal situation. And so, well, rinsing it, it literally washes out with just water. It is no joke, water, like completely water soluble. So that was very much well achieved. Definitely an oil-based product that can like wash out very easily. What else? Feels a little greasy right now, just a bit. But nothing crazy. Doesn't harden at all, obviously. And yeah. So overall, it's definitely a product that stands out just because that like it is a water, not an oil wax-based type of product, but it is completely water soluble. So it's super convenient in that regard. If you don't need a lot of height, if you're not super demanding in that regard, like this is actually probably a very ideal product. If you're just looking for like basically like a side part, a comb over of some sort, this is pretty ideal. To style a tall pomp, you might opt for something like that, like what we looked at last time with Flagship or some of the other stronger like Flagship types of products. But this would be basically a good way to balance between a clean product and while still using oil base. It's probably one of the cleaner and one of the cleanest like oil-based products we've seen, just because it's water soluble, and that also forces it to change the kind of feel in some other regards. But yeah, so other than that, this has been a review of Flagship Traditional Pomade, water soluble, as part of the new Streamline line. Yes, usually you can use our promo code THEPOMP, all caps, if you guys want a little discount as long as you buy direct from Flagship. But yeah, take care guys, and see you guys actually tomorrow.